I didn't get fired. I didn't lose my status. I lost something far more expensive: authority. Every time I snapped, every time I defended my ego, I was bleeding respect. I didn't realize it until the guy who never says a word took the corner office that was supposed to be mine. That's when I learned that emotional leakage is career suicide. If you feel overlooked or like your hard work is invisible, listen closely. This isn't just about office politics. It's about dominating your own psychology. Stick around, and I'll show you how to become the most formidable person in any room. Meet Daniel. He had my title, my pay, but twice my power. Why? Because when the pressure hit, I leaned in. Defensive, loud, predictable. Daniel? He leaned back. He used silence as a weapon. While I was busy proving I was right, he was busy proving he was in control. I didn't get fired. I didn't fail publicly. What I lost was worse. I lost years of respect, one emotional reaction at a time. Imagine a glass of water. Every time you lose your temper, every time you over-explain yourself, every time you get defensive because someone questioned your work, you are poking a hole in that glass. You think you're being passionate. You think you're standing up for yourself. But in reality, you're just leaking power. By the time I realized this, my glass was empty. I watched the guy 2 desks over. Daniel, get the promotion that was written in my name. Daniel wasn't smarter than me. He didn't work longer hours. But Daniel had something I lacked: emotional sovereignty. In the high-stakes environments of London, New York, or any corporate battlefield, competence is the baseline. Everyone is smart. Everyone is capable. What separates the 1% from the 99% isn't what they do. It's how they react when everything goes wrong. This is the story of how I stopped being a puppet of my own impulses and became the person people are afraid to rattle. Why do we react? Biologically, it's the amygdala hijack. When someone criticizes your work, your brain doesn't see a spreadsheet error. It sees a predator. Your heart rate spikes, your vision narrows, and you enter fight or flight mode. But here is the sigma truth. In a civilized world, fight or flight is a weakness. If I can make you angry with a single sentence, I own you. I can predict exactly what you're going to say. I can bait you into looking unprofessional in front of your CEO. I can make you look unstable just by pushing a button. For years, I was that puppet. I thought being authentic meant showing my emotions. I was wrong. Authenticity without self-regulation is just immaturity. I replayed meetings in my head, thinking of the perfect comeback. But the perfect comeback doesn't exist. The only winning move is not to play the game of words. Look at the most powerful figures in history. They don't bark. They don't scramble. They operate from a place of stillness. Think of a lion. A lion doesn't bark at a fly. A lion doesn't explain to the hyenas why he is the king. He just is. The shift happened on a Tuesday. I had spent 3 weeks on a global expansion proposal. I had the data, the charts, the logic. Halfway through my presentation, Daniel, the quiet one, interrupted. He didn't raise his voice. He just said, "The logistics in the UK market don't support these margins." This is a gamble, not a strategy. My old self would have snapped. My blood boiled. I felt the heat in my neck. I started talking over him. I used words like "actually," "if you understood the data," and "I've put in the work." I was loud. I was fast. I was desperate. I looked around the room. My boss wasn't looking at the data. He was looking at me. He saw a man who couldn't handle a simple question. He saw a man who was exposed. That night, I didn't sleep. I realized that my need to be right was more important to me than being respected. I realized that every time I defended myself, I was actually telling the world, I am afraid you won't believe me unless I scream. I spent the next 6 months studying the art of the pause. I realized that power isn't about the words you speak. It's about the space between the words. Here are the 5 pillars I used to rebuild my reputation from the ground up. 1. The 5-second void. When someone asks a challenging question or insults you, do nothing. Count to 5. Maintain eye contact. Most people are terrified of silence. They will start talking to fill the gap, and in doing so, they will reveal their own insecurities. 2. The death of why. Stop asking, why did you do that? It sounds accusatory and triggers defensiveness. Instead, use how and what. What led to this conclusion? It keeps the conversation on the work, not the ego. 3. Body neutrality. Your words might be calm, but if your fists are clenched, you've lost. I train myself to keep my hands open and my shoulders down. If you look relaxed while being attacked, you look untouchable. 4. The unsent archive. I started writing every angry email I wanted to send, but I saved them in drafts. 24 hours later, I would delete them. 100% of the time, I was glad I didn't send them. 5. Listening as dominance. The person asking the questions is the one in control of the room. The person answering is the one being interrogated. I stopped being the one with all the answers and started being the one with the most dangerous questions. The results weren't instant. People expected the old me to crack, but I didn't. Meetings started to feel different. When I stayed silent, people looked at me for my opinion. When I did speak, I spoke slowly. I removed the ums and ahs. I stopped asking for permission to be heard. 6 months later, Daniel and I were up for the same senior director role. In the final board meeting, the CEO pushed us both hard. He attacked our projections. He tried to rattle us. Daniel stayed Daniel, calm, collected. But this time, I was calmer. I didn't defend my numbers. I simply said, the numbers are a reflection of the current market volatility. We can pivot, or we can stay the course. Which risk is the board willing to take? I put the pressure back on them. I wasn't the passionate kid anymore. I was the steady leader. I got the job, not because my plan was better, but because they knew that when the market crashed or a crisis hit, I wouldn't be the one panicking in the hallway. I would be the one in the center of the storm, perfectly still. Here is the truth. The world is loud. Most people are just a collection of triggers. If you can master your internal climate, you can master any external environment. You don't need a louder voice. You need a stronger filter. If you're ready to stop being a puppet and start being the one who pulls the strings, it starts with one choice. Don't react. The next time someone tries to bait you, remember this story. Look them in the eye, take a breath, and let the silence do the work for you. If you found value in this deep dive, hit the like button. This is the first step toward your own transformation. Subscribe for more insights into this Sigma mindset and dark psychology. In the comments, I want you to write one word: control. It lets me know you're part of the 1% who finished this video. Silence wins. My manager finally told me, your work is elite, but your reactions are amateur. That hit harder than any layoff. I realized that when you react instantly, you are a puppet. Anyone who can make you angry can control you. I stopped. I implemented the 5-second rule. When someone insults your work, don't speak. Count to 5 while looking them in the eye. It's the most uncomfortable feeling in the world for them. They start backtracking. They start justifying. Suddenly, you are the judge and they are the defendant. Months later, Daniel tried to talk over me. I didn't get loud. I just SD. I just stopped talking and waited. The silence hung in the air like a fog until he apologized. That promotion? I didn't just get it, I owned it. Because now, I'm no longer predictable. I'm dangerous. Emotional control isn't about being a robot. It's about being the pilot. Silence isn't a lack of words. It's the ultimate display of power. Master your breath, and you'll master the room. Stop being a puppet. Hit that subscribe button to join the 1% who stay calm under fire. Comment control if you're ready to stop reacting. If this story hit close to home, hit that like button. Subscribe for more Reddit Sigma emotional stories. And tell me in the comments, what moment made you realize your emotions were costing you more than they gave you? Silence wins.